All right, I think I'm live. Can somebody tell me how the audio is? And also ask some questions. I see Soha here. Hi, Soha. Look, I've improved my setting. I didn't let many people know about the stream. I mean, I didn't let anybody know about the stream because I don't know if the audio. Oh, audio is great? Really? Everything is working? Okay, thank you. Look, now I can actually, while I'm doing the stream on my spinning bike, I have access to the highlighting the comments and everything. Wow, audio is good. Okay, great. What- Look at oh wow, look at your name. Popular Front for Liberation of Palestine Marxist. Wow, that's a mouthful. That's a big name, and that means okay. I like that you're here. Do you have any questions about Palestine and anything? Well, I'm not a Marxist. I'm a capitalist, and I'm also for liberation of Palestine from Hamas. So let me know if you think. What do you think about that? And if you have any questions, I see Muhammad Omar here saying, "Hey." I see Rakshith Tridharan. I see Zion. I'm an ex. So who's Rakshith is saying I'm an ex-Hindu atheist. I love the fact that you call yourself an ex-Hindu atheist instead of a Hindu atheist. I'm so happy. I'm so glad to see more people identify as ex-Hindu atheist, not Hindu atheist. That's fantastic. I love it. All right, so guys, it's good that we're like chit-chatting, but do you have any questions, especially that liberation this guy? If you have any questions, let me know. What do you guys think about my setup? Do you guys hear the background noise? Does anybody hear the background noise? Hi. Do you guys hear that noise from the background? If you hear it, let me know. I could go tell them to turn it off. I hope you can't hear it. Guys, you need to everybody's saying hi, but nobody's asking any questions. I have a question for the popular front of this guy. No, I want you to ask me something. Oh, here, let me see. Hi, Sarah. Sarah's saying hi. Everybody's saying hi. Do you guys not have any questions? This is supposed to be a Q&A. Okay, Soha is saying no, I can't hear it. Okay, good. All right. I'm just gonna keep spinning here on my spinning bike until one of you asks a question. Oh, there we go. Finally. Armin, there are currently 5 million stateless Palestinian refugees in Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria. What do you think should happen to. First you said him, but then you corrected it, said them. All right. I'm going to say what I think should happen while recognizing that this will never happen. Okay? Like, my opinion is something that no is not going to happen. Okay? Nobody's going to listen to this. So I don't know if it's a good, if it's an answer. Like, what's the point of a solution if it's never going to happen? Right? People like saying, I mean, what's your solution? Like, I don't even know if these are good solutions because nobody's going to do it. This would be the solution if I was the dictator, which is like not good solutions because, yeah. So my answer would be I think they should have the full right to go to either to the West Bank. They should have full right to be in the West, go anywhere in the West Bank, right? And they Israel needs to compensate them financially or somehow. I don't know exactly how they need to be compensated, but there needs to be some sort of land swap. I think all those settlements Israel has built in the West Bank, I think they should be given to any Palestinian that wants to come back to that land. I think anybody that has a background coming from Palestine should be able to come to the West Bank. Not the parts that are Israel now. That's unfortunately that's you can't undo that. That's Israel now. But anywhere in the West Bank, I think not. I think even all the settlements that Israel has built in the West Bank, that's not going to be enough. I think Israel needs to compensate Palestinians that have been forced out of their home with building even more settlements, but not for Israelis, for all the Palestinians. Like Israel would have to pay for it. That would be my. This is not going to happen. By the way, I'm not living in a dream world. Okay, I'm not living in a dream world. But I think like all the lands that are Israel needs to remain Israel, and they need to be defended. But all the Palestinians that have been, even the Palestinians that are haven't suffered from the early forcing out, they're still feeling the suffering from, like, it's a multi-generational effect on them, right? So they are still suffering from all the effects of out of that initial land grab. So even though the Israelis today are not responsible for that, and the Palestinians outside of this area are not the original victims of that, the multi-generational poverty the Palestinians are being affected, that are feeling from that, and also the multi-generational privilege that the Israelis are feeling from that, that needs to be adjusted for in some way or another. And I don't think, like, I'm not suggesting like nobody should now that lives anywhere in Israel or Palestine should be forced out of where they live. Israel, like the current Israelis that live in Israel, they were born there. They do not bear. They should not be punished for the sins of their any like the things that they're not responsible there. That's their home. They need to stay there. But given the privileges, given all the benefits they experience from living that land, the state of Israel in a dream world that will never happen would have to make compensate all the Palestinians today from any from anything from the unjust that they experience from all the things that happened before. That's my experience. That's my suggestion. And again, that is something that will never happen. Let me see. What do you think? Okay. Popular Front for Liberation of Palestine, Marxist. Let me know what you think about that. What do you think? Is Saudi becoming liberal? No, the Saudi government is afraid of becoming more and more isolated, especially as oil prices um, might like as more people switch to alternative sources of energy, they see the future that they do not like. So, and they recognize that they need to somehow open the door of Saudi Arabia to investments in tourism and remove all this instability. And they want to put in a good image of acting like they're becoming more liberal. But while they do all the dance of acting like they're more liberal, behind the scenes, they are doing actually more aggressive crackdown on dissent, right? So it's one thing to act like, oh, look, we have cinemas now and women can drive, while that looks, juicy for the media. They're like, oh my God, look, Saudi is becoming more liberal. But actually, in practice, they're becoming less liberal because they're cracking on dissent in a much more aggressive way than before. But that happens behind the scene. That is the true sign of liberalism is exactly the opposite of what Ben Salman is doing, right? Hi. Oh, there we go. Zion is saying, can you explain why you support veganism and eat meat at the same time? I have seen you with Cosmic Skeptic, but I am not able to understand. Well, I think that veganism as a way to reduce suffering in the world makes absolute sense, but all of us we all of us are not. There are many options on way to reduce suffering around the world, and it's unreasonable to expect all of us to do all of them, right? Every single one of us here are doing certain things that is increasing suffering in the world, and we can't. There's no way for us to. I mean, it's very as long as there are a couple of things that we're mindful of as a way to reduce suffering, I think it's unreasonable for somebody to ask any one of us to do all of the things that will reduce suffering. I can give you examples of how I'm increasing suffering by turning on my aircon. I'm increasing suffering by many other ways. Like I have a TV screen there that I didn't need to, that I could have donated to charity. But again, so I think like becoming a vegan is one way where you could decide that I'm, as an individual, I want to reduce their suffering that I'm causing around the world. But again, there are many, many other options, and every vegan, even vegans haven't exhausted all the options. So as much as I admire them selecting one of the options, they themselves could go. Those vegans also can go much farther and doing many things that maybe I'm doing and they're not doing, right? So I think is just because I'm not picking the option that they have picked, I have picked some options that they haven't picked, and they have picked an option that I haven't picked, right? So I admire it, but I pick other ways to reduce misery. Hi, Idris. Sarah is saying, do you think Israel had the right to take the land and build the state by force? I don't like speaking about Israel as if it's one entity. Israel is many things, and there are many people in Israel, and there are many institutions and many movements. Many of them are bad, many of them are good. So I don't talk about Israel as a. I don't like. I try to catch myself not talking about Israel as if it's one thing. Okay, so. I do believe that it made sense for the Zionist movement, given what the Jewish people have experienced and continue to experience around the world, but especially back then, it made absolute sense for them to, and it made strategic sense at that time where people were building nations left and right. It made absolute sense for them to want to uh, make a country for themselves so that they could be safe from all the anti-Jewish sentiments all around the world. And the Zionist movement started before the World War II, and you can see what happened during World War II. That the people who were deciding to start the Zionist movement, you could see that their project made absolute sense. Like even before World War II, they could see that they needed a place like that. So the idea made absolute sense. The initial move towards there, I mean, the process in which it started was not bad at the beginning. It turned ugly when they started forcing people out of their houses. But again, those were the people, I'm not going to say like, oh, Israel. Those were the people at the time shouldn't have kicked Arabs out of their houses, right? And the excuse that, oh, we were here 3,000 years ago makes absolute no sense, right? Like if that's the argument, if anybody buys that argument, then all Canadians and Americans should leave North America. Like they have like that doesn't make any sense. Like about like after one generation, whoever is living there is living there. You can't kick out people out of their home because of what their ancestors did, right? So, but just because those people made that mistake, I'm not going to hold Israelis today accountable for what those people did back then, right? So I don't speak about Israel as if it's one thing. Those people back then made a mistake. That's their wrongdoing. The Israelis that live in Israel right now, that's their home now. We have to deal with that. Soraya saying, I wish you should try host Twitter Spaces once with my any account. I love to see how people will argue with you open space. Well, here, why can't they come here? Popular Front for Liberation of Palestine Marxist is saying, I support a one-state solution. All the Arab refugees should be led back, and all the ones that want to come back. Some of them wouldn't want to come back. A new property should be built for them and allowed to vote. I am completely against the two-state solution. Well, again, in a dream world, I would prefer a one-state solution. Okay, in a dream world, obviously, I don't like having states that are defined by people's ethnicity and religion divided. Like, but the problem right now, I mean, and also, guess what? This is what you want. It seems like this is what's gonna happen at some point. Popular for like, this is not what you want. Is something that will be forced upon this land at some point. Okay, because the status quo is not going to last forever, and the two-state solution has been made impossible, almost impossible, by the settlements. So a one-state solution eventually is going to be forced upon this land, and given that most of the people between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea are Arabs, and they're going to have equal votes, they're probably going to also vote for all the other Palestinians to be able to come back. So what you're saying is going to be, you don't need to wait for somebody to make that decision. You just have to wait for this to be forced upon this land at some point. This is why maybe the far right parties, they want to make not just Palestine but also Israel so uncomfortable for Arabs, so that they decide to just migrate out of this land, so that this doesn't happen, so that the majority doesn't become Arab, right? But if they are not successful, this is what's going to happen. So the problem with this is, again, I wish that's, I mean, I hope that it becomes one state and Arabs and Jews can live side by side as neighbors and with the same say. But the level of hostility that has been created, the amount of hate that has been created between these two communities makes me worry for Jewish people under one state in Israel. Okay, and again, this is not not because that Palestinians are not inherently capable of living with Jewish people, because they were before this whole thing happened. This land was 5% Jew, and they seem to have been living side by side with Palestinians without any issues. But after so many years of hostility, the hatred has become so deep rooted, that under that situation, I fear for Jewish people in Israel at that point. I don't know what's going to happen to them. I'm scared. I don't want. So the only reason why I think a two-state solution might have been more ideal is not because I'm in favor of separating people based on race or religion, but because of the level of hatred that has been created over the past couple of decades. Let me see. Idris is saying, suppose you could halt your aging process, but you had to drink someone's blood every few years to help your cyborg genetic therapy engine to keep your immune system up to date. Would you do it? Yes, if it's being given to me voluntarily. Wait, so drink someone's blood as in like I take it from them, or they just like I pay them and they give it to me? If it's I pay it and they give it to me, then of course I would like to stay alive forever. But if I have to take it from them, then I know that's like illegal. I don't know, that's immoral. Like, yeah, if it depends on how much, if it's consensual. Okay, we have a new goddess in India thanks to pandemic. No, oh wait, I can't say that word. God damn it. Okay, wow, that's pretty cool actually. Well, okay, Sarah's saying, well, would you be okay? Well, I'm surprised I'm getting so many questions. I didn't even announce this anywhere. And this is not a big channel. This is my personal channel. That's great. Okay, Sarah's saying, well, would you be, I'm not complaining, by the way, this is great. Would you be okay with, what is that, Yazidis? Yazidis, I think you mean Yazidis, having their own country in Iraq or Syria because they were oppressed by ISIS. I mean, I think like they are. Do they want that? I think like they are so few in numbers that the solution would be achieved easier than making an entire country for them. I think there are better solutions to that. They're not that big in number for the process of making a new country to make sense. I think the only other people that might make sense right now would be the Kurds. Mm. Are you aware of the? Yeah, I've been to Israel. Yes. Yeah, I've been aware of that. I mean, I have to look at more under. I'm gonna do a stream on whether it's fair or not to call Israel an apartheid state. I'm gonna have a stream. I'm gonna bring on Israeli Zionist on and challenge him. He's gonna say no. I'm gonna take the other side. I'm gonna say yes, it is an apartheid state as just as a way to create a challenging argument. All right, Popular Front for Liberation of Palestine and Marxist is saying, wow, this is a big name of them. Okay, Armin, between 50% of 70% of the Roma people? You mean Romanian people were also executed in World War II, and still to this day are the most persecuted people in Europe. Yet no one has ever called for a state for them. Why is this? I don't know. Did they want? Okay, here's the thing: when Jewish people, it's not that other people asked for the state for them. They went and got it themselves. They did this. There were other, like the Kurds also went and asked for it, but the Jewish people were much more effective at doing it. So it's not like it wasn't just handed over to them. It was a lot of groundwork done by themselves to be able to make this, to get a lot of support for it, right? So it was a lot of, I mean, to give credit to them, they were very good at it, at managing to get a lot of support for their project, right? Music Guy 20 saying, Armin, would you ever have Infidel, Noodle, or Apostate Aladdin on any of your channels? Yes, I would. Oh my God, of course, I would love that. Are they interested? Yes, very much. Archer saying, thank you for your activism. I recently left Islam. If you ever want something from Egypt or Saudi Arabia, tell me. Aww. Thank you so much, Archer. That's so sweet. Wow. From Egypt? What do I find from Egypt or Saudi Arabia? I have to think about it. Can I get some Zamzam water? I'm not going to drink it though. I'm going to get sick. Idris is saying, what's your opinion on a Kurdish state? Should they separate from their respective states, or should they forget about their identity as long as they have equal rights in Iraq, Syria, etc.? Oh my God, that can of worms. I mean, I think the Kurdish people are the one group of people that have been cheated out of a state more than anyone else. Like if it at the time where Jewish people wanted for a state, the Kurdish people also wanted a state, and I think like they were denied, and you could see the crimes that were committed against them by Saddam, by Iran's government, by the Turks, by Syrian government. So all the four countries that they are spread around, like it seems like they had a point when they wanted the states, right? Like after everything that happened to them, it seemed like, yeah, maybe like they should have been given a state as well. I mean, they just didn't have enough powerful lobby groups to be able to make it happen. But I think they deserved it after what we saw happen to them. Does it make sense now? I think right now it's almost impossible for that to happen unless you want like an extremely bloody civil war. You want to unite Iraq, Iran, Turkey, and Syria against the Kurd at the same time. These are countries with military, like more powerful than what the Kurds have. It's not like the Kurds have much support from even the United States or anywhere else to create their own state. So who's going to back them up if they want to become independent? They're just going to have to face giant armies from these four countries. I mean, Turkey alone could like completely it's going to be very ugly. It's going to be very bloody. So even if I don't think so. I think like the potential it's going to be so the loss of life is not going to be worth right now. I mean, maybe when they were making the chance that they had was basically right after World War One. Like that was the time where countries were being made left and right, right? And the Jewish people at that time, where people were just drawing up countries around the Middle East and Eastern Europe, the Jewish people were like, hey, this is our chance. And the Kurds were like, yeah, us too. And I think once you lost that chance, then now the borders are like there to stay, right? Nobody's going to make new borders. All right, here. Popular Front for Liberation. How long have we gone? For liberation of Palestine, saying, the history of the world is that of weak people fighting strong people, of weak people who have a correct case fighting strong people who use their strength to exploit the weak. Yeah. And if the weak ever are successful, then they become the new powerful ones, and then they're going to exploit other people. Now the weak are going to be in the position of exploiting. But again, I mean, history is many other things. That's just one of the trends that keeps happening. Yeah, it's a trend that keeps happening, but history is obviously more than just that. Okay, music guy is saying, Armin, what is the status of AR? Any news on when you'll get paying subscribers and super chats back? No, we don't know. We're in limbo right now. So no, we're right now just saying it's under review, but we haven't been denied and we haven't gotten a yes either. But thank you for caring. How hard was it to learn English? Any funny stories? I don't even remember learning English because I knew it since childhood. So I don't know if it was hard. I mean, I lived in, yeah, my parents moved to London when I was 4 years old. And even when I was in Iran growing up, all the cartoons I watched were in English. The books I read was in English. The news we watched was in English. So yeah, I don't remember learning English. So yeah, I was like, so yeah, I always knew English. I remember improving my English in but not learning it from the get-go. Anyways, I think what Roma? Hold on. I don't. Roma are on the average less educated. You mean Roman? You mean like Romania? Sorry, Roma. Hold on. Is Roma the name for like Romanians? Okay. Somebody educate me on this. I think Roma are on average less educated and tend to integrate when they get educated. Hold on, let me see. Somebody educate me on this. Nobody's educating me on this. Do you have any strong arguments to give up land, which is the honor for Arabs? Do you have any strong arguments to give up land, which is the honor for Arabs? I don't understand this question. To give up land, which is the honor for Arabs. I didn't say anybody should give up the land. If you own their land, you shouldn't give it up. Oh, you guys are talking about gypsies. No, it's a brand of European gypsies. Oh my God. Yeah, okay, glad. Okay, good. Gypsies, yes. The gypsies and, okay, wait, if you're talking about the gypsies haven't been ignored as victims of World War II. Everybody knows that the number one, in total number, the number one victims are Jewish people. In percentage-wise, the number one victims are gypsies. Yeah, gypsies. So gypsies are the main victims as a percentage. So people know that. Do people not talk about that? I guess they don't talk about it enough. If I didn't know Roma is what you refer to it. I don't know what this is. Zamzam water stinks. I tried it. It totally stinks. Ew. Okay. Yes. Oh, yeah. So I'm saying, no, no, not the holy Zamzam water. You will burn. True, true, true. Roma people are Romani speaking gypsy people. Oh, yeah. So Romania, right? But they regard them as gypsy. Oh, wait. So I should say, is Roma the correct term for, like, is gypsy a slur? I'm sorry. I didn't know that. I'll start using Roma instead of gypsy. Are the gypsies mostly Romani speaking? Ma, I'm learning from you guys. Okay, so gypsies are Romani speaking and Roma refers to them and gypsy is a slur. If that is true, I'll stop saying gypsy. I'll start saying Roma. Thank you for educating me on this. It is saying they would have if it wasn't for Ataturk. I don't know what that's referring to. Any further blasphemers are just curious. I must say your designs are great. Any further, we're making like one or two every week. Of course. Have you not seen them? You should subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description. We send that to all our newsletter subscribers. Just subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description, and you're not going to miss any of them. We're making so many, like we're like getting close to 100 now. Popular Front for Liberation of Palestine is saying, don't drink Zamzam. It contains high levels of nitrate, potentially harmful bacteria, and arsenic at level 3 times the normal levels. Well, maybe I want them for my enemies. Just not. I wonder what will happen if I get Zamzam water and mix it with Karbala's dust from Karbala, right? The earth from Karbala, the Shia Sunni holy matters combined. Would it like, I don't know. I think something special will happen if you mix them together. How much can you bench? Well, it's okay. I will tell you, but it's not going to be fair because I use. Oh, I can't see. It's that phone over there. I use dumbbells, not barbells. So dumbbells are harder to do bench presses with than dumbbells. Okay, so it's not going to be fair. So I have two. Okay, 260 on each hand. Okay, so 60 on each hand, and I do 29 in reps in one set. 29 reps in one set with 60-pound dumbbells in each hand. Okay, if it was a barbell, it would be much higher. Okay, barbells are a lot more stable than dumbbells, but I like to make sure my stability muscles are also getting a workout, not just my chest. Roma is gypsy. Okay, gypsy. Yeah, okay, thank you. No, it's a band of European gypsies. Okay. How did you end in Canada? I took a plane. Idris saying a lot live in Romania but are pariahs everywhere. Oh, that's so sad. God damn it. Even after what happened in World War II, they're still. Okay, actually, let me be more serious with this question. How did I end up in Canada? I wanted to go to the US, but it was after 9/11, and it was really hard to get to the US. So I applied for a university in Canada instead. And now I'm actually happier that I ended up in Canada than US. I like my Canadian citizenship. Okay. Oh, Sarah is saying, well, by stop fighting Israel, you basically give up your land and become a traitor. Well, Sarah, that land is not going to be. You could pretend to keep fighting a lost battle, like that land is not. Okay, here's the thing: the way. Okay, the way that the Arabs are going to get that land back is not through armed struggle. Okay, The way that that land is going to come back is because of far-right parties in Israel who seem to have made the two-state solution impossible. Okay, so if you the people who want a one-state solution and want like this land to eventually become Arab majority, where Arabs have higher number of votes than Jewish people, they need to be thanking the Likud party. They need to be thanking Netanyahu, because it's not going to be Hamas that is going to bring those lands back to the Arabs. It's going to be these far right group that have made the two-state solution impossible, right? So it's not going to be armed struggle. That's not how the Arabs are going to get this land. Gypsy is a slur? I've been using it forever. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Oh, damn it. I was saying, okay, Idris saying, I was saying Kurds had gotten their state after the dismantling of the Ottoman Empire, but Ataturk invaded during the Turkish War of Independence. Yeah. They almost had, they missed it by that much. The Roma people not only live in Romania, there are in almost equal numbers in Bulgaria, Hungary, Slovakia, and some other Eastern European countries. Wow, thank you guys for all this information. What do we... Okay. You would summon a Kharijite jinn. If you mix Zamzam water with Karbala's, dust from Karbala, you will summon a Kharijite jinn. That's the plot for a new movie. Anyways, let me see what here. The Roma people immigrated from northern India 1,000 years ago. Most anthropologists believe they were Dalits who faced extreme persecution in their homeland and thus left. That is amazing. I didn't know that. I did not know that. All right. Armin, would you ever do a stream on Hamas or Hezbollah's history to recent day to educate the viewers? Yeah, that would be nice. Maybe. I have to get motivated to do that. A few years ago, rumors of kidnapping from their communities appeared on Twitter in France and resulted in Roma persecution, if I remember correctly. You know what? Now I can go around and act like a snob every time somebody says gypsy and be like, excuse me? Did you not know that gypsy is a slur? Educate yourself, sir. And then pretend like, and then they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I'm like, yes, now you know. And act like all high and mighty. Like, how could you not know this? Okay? I'm going to act like that. I'm going to act like I'm going to make them feel so bad. You guys made me feel bad today, so I'm going to do this to the next person that uses the word gypsy. I'm going to make sure they feel so bad. Yeah. And, all right. Cool. Wow, I burned 150 calories talking to you guys. Isn't that great? These machines, by the way, are not accurate. So it says 100. Just to be safe, I always like cut it by half. It says 150 calories. I'm gonna assume like at least 75. I know that these machines exaggerate, but like at least half of it is true, right? Is that a safe assumption? If it says 150 calories, and I must have at least burned 75, right? I think I did. Islam is Muhammad's fan association. Muhammad's fan. Yeah, okay. Ew, really? I didn't know that. That's so sad. Nobody talks about them much. You guys know so much about them. I appreciate it. Wow, you guys educated me today more than the other way around. So thank you guys. I appreciate that. Now I know more about Roma people. Okay, let me see Sarah saying. Are you aware of the massive drug deals that Iran holds in the Middle East? Yes, not Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran. What the government did with the intention of controlling it, of course. Yes, yes. Yes, I know about that. I'm sorry on behalf of, yeah. I didn't, as the people who did the revolution, they did it before I was born. You can't hold me responsible. I'm sorry. Armin is gonna outlive all of us. Yes, true. True. Muhammad Omer saying, I've been watching Matt Dillonty and lately it seems impossible to talk to him. He just shuts the conversation. In your opinion, what happened to him? Is it because of wokeness? No. I think it's personal stuff. So that's, you know, I feel sympathy. I feel some sympathy. Man has gone through so much. Okay, so maybe again, I'm not actually. I don't know. I can't read people's minds, but if it is because of personal stuff, then I feel bad for him. Okay, so give him give him a break. He's a yeah, but yeah, he is not easy to talk to recently, but hopefully he's happy. You know, hopefully he's not dealing with and so much that he is not enjoying his life. I hope he gets over whatever he's dealing with. Um, Armin, is drug use common in Iran? Yes. I always hear about Afghans going to Iran to work and then come back as heroin addicts. No, wow, really? I didn't know. Yeah, unfortunately, drug use is becoming more common in Iran, especially after what people have to deal with. It's like really bad. It's really bad. Armin, why do so many Persians claim to be white and use the term Aryan when describing themselves? Because they're racist. What do you think? Okay, because they. Oh my God. Um, how much time do you have? They're a bunch of racist, ethno nationalist. Yeah. Okay, guys, I have a question. Is it racist if I think many Persians are more racist than other people that I've met? Like, am I being racist towards my own race if I think Persians seem to be extremely racist? Um, is it racist to say Persians are more racist than other people? I don't know. But I just, God, maybe it's not that they're more racist. Maybe it's because I'm so in touch with them, I notice it more, right? So maybe it's not fair. But goddamn, the level of superiority that they feel and the anti-Arab racism among Persians is so disgusting and it's so common. It's so in the recent years, it's getting a little bit better. Little bit better. There's like some actual pushback against especially anti-Arab racism. But god damn it, man, when I was like in Iran, it was mainstream. Like anything other than that was not normal. I have so many examples and stories that I could tell you. Yeah, anti-Arab racism, anti-Turkish racism, anti-Lord racism, anti-Afghan racism, anti-Jewish racism, of course, anti-everything racism except anti-white racism, because you're racist when not only when you have a superiority complex among all your neighbors, but you also have an inferiority complex compared to Europeans, right? And when you're so sensitive, when you want to make sure that these Europeans and Americans never think that you're an Arab. Like, no, 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 please don't. We're not Arabs, okay? Please do not ever get confused. If you confuse that, like, this is the best way to offend a Persian person, to think like, to ever assume that they're Arab. God damn it, man. So much racism. It's so disgusting. I would say that right now among the Persian community, in Iran, racism is a bigger problem than religion. I, as an anti-religion activists will tell you that right now, not in the government, in the government, religion is a bigger problem. But among the average Iranian, religion is less of a problem now, right, compared to racism. Hi, Miriam. By the way, how's... Oh, I don't know who Charmin is. Oh, yeah. I don't talk about... If you're talking about any members of my family, I have decided not to mention that anymore. We have... Because of, security stuff. Drug addiction is disproportionately high amongst young men in Arab villages in Israel and the West Bank. Why do you think this? I don't know, but if I had to guess, which is not a good way of coming up with conclusions, is because of lack of hope, lack of opportunity, desperation, lack of employment, discrimination, and stuff like that. That's what I would guess. Lack of something to look forward to. That's what I guess, but that's just a guess. I don't have any data. Sarah, what are your thoughts on taking away the Humanist Award from Richard Dawkins? I think that was a mistake, but that doesn't mean that I don't think Dawkins' tweet was correct. I think Dawkins' tweet was bad. It seemed ignorant of the difference between sex and gender, but I think the response to that should have been, I don't know, pushback, intellectual pushback, rather than, award removal. Because it seemed like if you look at the explanation for why they removed the award, it seems like they didn't. Yeah, I did an entire stream on this. I mean, the people, the reasons were not good for the why they removed it, right? Again, the reason why they removed the award from him is that they came up with the worst interpretation of Dawkins' tweets. So they assumed so much malice and so much bigotry in the tweet, which is not... The tweet was ignorant, the tweet was wrong, the tweet was unscientific, but you can't prove that it was intentionally transphobic unless you can read minds and just read it in the most uncharitable way. So just because the tweet is wrong, that doesn't mean that it was intentionally transphobic. So I think that's why I think both Dawkins was wrong to make the tweet, but the award removal was also a mistake. I don't know what this is. Sarah is saying, well, not to be racist, you would be wrong. Arabs are more racist. Well, that's racist because you're calling an entire group of people racist. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm confused. This is meta racism. Saying, no, it is not racism. You're only criticizing your own people. If you were an Iranian, then yes, it will be racism. Really? No, I don't think if just because you're a member of a group of people, then that means that you could be generalizing them. I think you will still be racist even if you're talking about your own race. I don't think just because you belong to a race, that doesn't mean negatively talking about them is not racist. Can Indians have the Enlightenment era ideas in India currently? I don't see this. Yes, of course they can. What stops them? I actually see a lot of hope in the younger generation in India. I have to okay, guys, I'm going to answer faster because I need to go. Yes, I agree, Ben saying I think you would need some sort of polls to say one group is an average more racist than another. Those polls have been done, and it seems like India is the most racist country in the world. Again, then you could question the accuracy. Is it hypothetical that Israel claims it is a safe haven for all Jews, but discriminates so much against Black Ethiopian Jews? Oh, hypocritical. Yes, it is very much hypocritical. Yes, Omar, it's extremely hypocritical. It's also hypocritical that they don't push back on China for how China treats the Jews, because technically it doesn't meet Israel's definition of the Jews. Yes, very, very much so. But again, I don't even think I think like Israel should have been a safe haven for anybody that was being prosecuted, not just based on ethnicity. Okay, I'm going to really answer quite faster. Armin, what dessert sweets did you love the most when growing up in Iran? Um, uh, you're not gonna like the answer. Foreign ones, not the Iranian ones. I like the brand, like Kinder Over Russian German chocolate. Yeah, not the Iranian ones. Yeah, I was like Western. My Western mindset liked American and German chocolates. Okay, it is saying, I know Kurdish and Iranian are from the same language family. Are there anyone in Iran wanting to absorb them into the broader Iranian identity? No, not that I know of. No, a lot of people are actually very sensitive about making sure that the Persian um, language remains uncorrupted, because they think anything else will divide the country. Okay, I'm going to try to do quicker. Do no more questions. What are your thoughts about discrimination, the discrimination of black Jews in Israel? Is it really as bad as people say? Yes, it's very bad. I've heard a lot. It's unforgivable and it's disgusting. And it is true. It does happen in Israel, even by the government. Sarah's saying, how many genders are there then? Zero. Will depend. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know the difference between sex and gender, right? So how many genders are there? It could be, I don't know, as gender is a social construct. Again, saying it's a social construct doesn't mean that it's useless, okay? Contracts are social contract constructs, and we need them, right? Um, Social constructs are great, right? So how many genders are there? As many as the society decides that there needs to be. So as many as you want, basically. How is the tweet unscientific? First of all, the tweet is unscientific because the tweet doesn't understand the difference between sex and gender, and also the tweet is the biologist asking a question, where instead of do like as if like Twitter comments are the best way to figure out what the truth to a scientific question is. Like this is not like an opinion about. This is not a question about that people's opinions. Like if you just go look at the tweet, like what other scientific questions do we um, use Twitter for in Twitter debates for to come. Like this is something. The question he's asking is a question that has been answered by so many scientific papers already. So I don't think like him coming in Twitter and just asking it as if there's a debate about this and people on Twitter are going to have a better answer. Like really, a biologist is asking Twitter to comment on something that he should be able to. He as a scientist should have access to the answers. To like it just makes no sense. Do you have a girlfriend? I have more than one girlfriend, so I don't know what you're talking about. Puya saying, have you heard the reports that say yes? Oh my God. Puya saying, have you heard the reports that say Larijani, Jahangiri, and Ahmadinejad were rejected for the Iran election? Puya, also Saeed Mohammed, because it's the seven, based on that report, the seven people who were accepted, it didn't have Saeed Mohammed in there. Do you think this will significantly affect the amount of participation? Yes, it will drop it because if that is true, and we don't know how much is true, Larijani wasn't selected, so there's like zero reformist candidates. Like, yeah, I don't know. Is it going to be less than 20%? I don't know what's going to happen, but we have to wait and see because I don't know. But that's like a major bombshell. And just saying, yes, it would be internalized racism, just like women can be sexist towards other women. Yes, exactly. I don't know, why talk about Palestine conflict, but we do not about Baluch and Yazidis? Well, because you're not asking about it. Ask me a question about it, and we will. well, I respond to what the conversations are about, right? And if there's a lot of interest in it, I might even look into it more, right? Well, it can be backed up statistically if one group of people is more racist than another. It can be a factual claim. Yeah, it can be a factual claim, but we're just going by personal experiences, which is not the best way to come up with conclusions like this. Views on Soviet Union, specifically their policy towards religion. Oh, specifically that is horrible. Not fighting religion has to be done by inviting people to reconsider their positions rather than forcing them to live a certain way. Obviously, I'm for secularism, and forced atheism betrays secularism. The government should have no say in um, what people's personal views are and any practices that they have, as long as they're not hurting anybody. Obviously, I'm against that. I'm against state atheism. I'm for secularism. Government should stay out of getting involved in people's religions or personal beliefs. Obviously. What do you think about evolutionary psychology? I love it. I used to study it a little bit in school, and it was fascinating. I wish I had more time for it. Zero is a stupid answer. Um, well, zero is not a stupid answer if you are a gender abolitionist, right? Gender could become irrelevant at some point when people's identity becomes independent from, especially as technology advances and we get to alter our minds in so many different ways. At some point, um, they're going to people will identify in so many different ways that gender might become irrelevant, and some gender abolitionists would like that. So it's not a completely irrelevant answer. It is an answer that some people are looking for. At some point, people were going to have the whole traditional you are masculine, you are feminine might go out the window, because people will have so many different identities and so many different ways of living that it's going to be hard to group them in binary or even five, six. At some point, once you go above a certain number, then that number becomes zero, because gender will become irrelevant as a social construct. Maybe, again, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but some people predict that's in our future. What is your view on open relationship? I think like a lot of people have to um, evaluate whether this is for them or not. Like, it's not for everybody, and it takes a high level of maturity, and it also has to be understood, like, to be able to do it. But also, I think a lot of people that want open relationship force this on people, on their couple who doesn't want open relationship, by trying to force them, to convince them that this is the best thing for both of them. But you might be with somebody that needs to be in a monogamous relationship, and just because you want to be in an open relationship, you are trying to somehow brainwash them into being in an open relationship. Be careful of never doing that to somebody. If you want to be in an open relationship, make sure you have a lot of experience with monogamous relationships, and make sure that the person you're with is completely okay with also being in an open relationship, and that you're not forcing them to agree with you. You're not trying to manipulate them into agreeing with you. Can you do a podcast with Geoffrey Miller, Scott Barry, Cliffman? They have to reach to me. I'm tired of reaching to people and then not getting any responses. Anybody that wants to, yeah, they have to come and reach to me. How is there zero number of it while having endless number of it at the same time? Okay, because at some point, if there is endless number of it, then it becomes an irrelevant identity. Do you know what I mean? Once you get above a certain number, then you will stop counting and it becomes irrelevant. That's how, after a certain number, it will become zero. No, when you say gender is a social construct, that's not the same as saying it doesn't exist. If it's a social construct, it has been constructed. So just because it's social doesn't mean it doesn't exist. A contract is a social construct, but it does exist. We have contracts. No, I didn't say it doesn't exist. Popular Front for Liberation of Palestine saying, is it okay to say a racist joke if no one of the race is present? I don't think so, because it might, in fact, it might. Okay, so for example, I used to say a lot of sexist jokes with Susanna in private, and we both used to laugh about it. But I think like that's not good because it might actually change without you knowing it. Um, Change your mindset about certain things. You know what I mean? Like I kept on, like Susanna didn't mind it, and she knows I'm not sexist. I know I'm not sexist, but just to get a shock out of her, and just because she liked it, I used to say a lot of like sexist, very sexist jokes, just because, just for the shock factor, and just for us to both laugh about it. But then I stopped because I think like even if nobody is getting offended by it or nobody can hear it, it might eventually make you a different person if you can't keep doing it. You know what I mean? You might actually end up believing it, you know? So that's why I stopped. So I would say, I don't know. I don't think like, I think like, personally, I wouldn't do it. I'm not saying if it's right or wrong. What is your view on average sex differences between male and female? Average sex differences? You're now talking about sex rather than gender. I don't know what you mean by average sex differences. There's obviously biological difference between sexes, males and female, right? I don't know what the question means. Um, okay, I'm gonna. But how is it gender anyway? This word lost all meaning when we define it as a living style or social construct or whatever. That's useless. Oh, Sarah, so now you're a gender abolitionist. Okay, so you think it's zero then? I don't think social constructs are uh, just because we define certain things in certain ways that makes it useless. Like I don't. There are many things that are social constructs, right? Your name is Sarah. Your name is a social construct. Do you think that that's useless? The fact that I am identified, my identity includes the name Armin, and I associate with the name Armin. I like the name Armin. It feels good. I like it. I identify with it. It's a complete. It's a social construct. It's not useless to use it, right? So I don't think so. And I also have a gender identity. I feel I feel like the gender identity that is norm in society. I feel like a male as a gender. I feel it. I like feeling like a male, and I could relate to it. Maybe so it's a social construct, but again, like there's many things that are social constructs. Let's say, like for example, Sarah. Let's say like you're the CEO of a company, right? And you feel like a CEO. And you enjoy being a CEO, you enjoy being a leader. The fact that your identity has been determined to be a CEO, a leader in a company, that is a complete social construct. Do you think it's useless? It's not useless. It's a social construct, but it's something you identify with, um, and you relate to it. But it's a complete social construct, and it's useful. It's useful and makes sense, and you relate to it, and you like it. Let's say you're a CEO and you like that identity. But here's the thing, gender as a social identity is a social construct, but it has connections to sex as a biological reality. Like it's not disconnected from it. It is connected to it. There are many things that are social construct that maybe have some relationship to biology, but they're not completely independent to it, right? So, you know, but just because it's connected to sex as a biological entity, that doesn't mean that it's completely has a one-on-one relationship to it. Gender is more about identity and behavior and how you're seen in a society, and that's obviously more of a social construct than complete biology. Biology has a relationship to it, but it's not completely just biology. Um, Popular Front for Liberation is saying, would you be willing to support a campaign for equal rights for women, gay, and trans people in Palestine? Oh my God, yes, I would love that. That would be amazing. And I hope there are more activism in Palestine that is not just anti-Israeli. Like I want to see more. I mean, I already know they exist, by the way. I'm not ignorant of that. But yes, I would like to be behind supporting stuff like that. Anyways, I need to go, guys. No more questions, so I can finish all the ones that are here. What countries do you Besides Iran, that lists religion on national ID document? What countries do I know besides Iran that list religion on national ID documents? I don't know. I don't know. Um, hmm. I don't know. That's a good question. That's a very good question. I have to go look that up. Michael saying, what are the odds of an atheist and Catholic maintaining a relationship, and how do I convince her to drop religion? Well, I mean, when I married my wife, she was Catholic, and I didn't convince her, so she just dropped it on herself. I don't think you need to make convince her to drop it. I think like you having different opinions with somebody shouldn't stop you from being able to have a relationship with them. Puya saying, what countries? Okay, yeah, I already read that one. I am not saying it's useless because it's a social construct. It's useless because it has no meaning anymore. You're saying it is identity, but identity can be literally anything. Well, it still has a meaning. I'm predicting that we will get to one day to a place where it has a no meaning. Right now, gender is still has a meaning. I can tell you it has a meaning. I feel it, okay? I identify with it, and many other people do. So I don't know what you're talking about. It's useless because it has no meaning. Well, it's a social construct, but it still means a lot to a lot of people. Okay, like for trans people, you go ask trans people that spend so much money and so much time go through gender transition. Why do you think they go through that? Because gender means a lot to them, right? If somebody who is being associated with being a man goes through so much surgery and so much work to become a woman, that shows to you how much this gender identity means to people, that they are making so much effort to be identified with a different gender. Obviously, it's a sort just because it's social construct. Social constructs are powerful things. Most of the way that we look at ourselves and we look at other humans and how we find our place in the world and in society is through social constructs, right? Everything we care about is we see it through lenses that are constructed by society. Like we discover ourselves through a mirror that is society. Like saying something is a social construct is not dismissing them. You know, our entire identity is built on it, and our entire identity is the most important thing to us. It's the mirror that we look ourselves in, right? So it's not an insignificant thing at all. Anyways, I need to go, guys. No more question, please. What is your view on I don't know what this is. Oh, no, I'm not gonna open that. um Anti-natalism views are detrimental to the future of humanity. No, I don't. I don't think. So. I don't think so because they're never going to become that popular. They're never going to become that popular, so it's fine. Um, okay, I'm gonna go. All right, last question. Okay, let me see. Last question. What are your favorite books? Enlightenment Now by Steven Pinker, The Atheist Muslim. Let me see. The Selfish Gene. Um, let me see. Oh, Under the Shadow of the Sword by Tom Holland, not the Spider-Man one, but the other one. It's a scholar one. I have to check my library. My bookshelf is right over there. What else? Oh, um, my own book, Why There Is No God. Link in the description. You could get it for free. Um, Bart Ehrman books. I'm looking forward to those. Um, oh, After the Prophet. That is a really good book about what happened, the split between Shias and Sunnis after Muhammad's death. That was a beautiful book. Yes. That was all of that. Okay, thank you so much. Don't do too much cardio. I did 260 calories. It can be extremely boring. How could it be boring? I'm talking to you guys. I didn't even notice that I'm doing cardio. You missed my question. What was your question? How many miles? I don't check miles. I check calories. I don't check. Hold on. I don't know how many miles. It doesn't say. It just says calories. It says 260 calories. I'm sorry. Okay, good. Love from England. Thank you for responding. Aw, you guys are so sweet. I didn't have that answer. I'm sorry. I feel so bad when I don't answer someone's question. Bye, Armin. Good Q&A. Thank you. Have you read the Satanic Verses? No, I heard it's not that interesting, so I won't. Anyways, love you guys. Thank you so much. And this was fun. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for making my cardio look seem like I'm not even doing cardio. Bye.